Hi again. This is Max's mom, and if you've seen our other videos, you know that Max has charge syndrome, and we wanted to focus today's video on eating. Now, as most children with charge have cranial nerve involvement, they usually have issues with eating as well. And to tell you the truth, Max gets most of his calories through G-tube feeding. And we're going to show you what that looks like in a few moments. But we always like to offer him food with the mouth first. And there are several reasons. Every now and then it seems like he actually enjoys eating, and it gives us a social connection as well. Because he's deaf and blind, quite simply, this is just one more thing that we can all do together. And I'm also hoping that in his future, Max will become an oral eater. I've had several families with charged children say that they had G-tube fed for years, and then one day their little one just started eating pancakes, loved it, and took off, and he's been an oral eater ever since. So because of that hope, we still offer him food 2 to 3 times a day, usually before we G-tube feed him. And we are going to show you what that looks like as well. Here we are, we're at Bob Evans actually, and we have a couple of things that Max might want to try. And so the first thing I'm going to do is tell Max what the options are. So Maxie, we have potatoes or we have soup to eat. Which one do you want to taste first? Do you want potatoes or do you want soup? We're going to save the ice cream for later. Okay, we're going to put that to the side. But we have, and maybe even let them feel it, potatoes or soup. Soup. So what do you think? Which one? Soup? Soup or potatoes? Say soup? Okay. But just giving him the taste, giving him the option. Looks like we got a piece of chicken that we're playing with. So Maxie, that's meat. That's meat that you're playing with. That's the chicken meat. Yum. So let's have another taste. And ultimately, I'd like him to, there we go, guide the spoon to his mouth himself to kind of let me know what, that he's ready for another bite. And he's actually, I think this is fantastic. He's playing with his food, and he will ultimately bring some of that to his lips. But that is wonderful. I do try to get him to eat maybe 10 little tastes of each thing. There you go, buddy. And just to kind of broaden his horizons, keep the options open. Yum, okay. Now let's try the potatoes, see if you like those any better. I try to get something like with gravy that has a lot of flavor. I know at school sometimes they'll even put mustard. Here's the potato, Max. Not enthused about that. They'll actually put mustard in the potato to make it a little bit more flavorful. So you can kind of experiment. Max, you want to try some of the potato? Do you want to taste this? And we've kind of had a long day here, and I don't expect him to eat much, but again, there you go, buddy.
Hey, Maxie, do you want some ice cream? Do you want to try some ice cream? Yes? Yes? Or no? Ice cream? Here, let's try some ice cream, buddy. All right. You want to touch it? Come here. Right here. See? It's all good. See? It's cold. All right.
Do you guys need to receive separated together?
Show me how you put it in your hand. Good. Can you sit up for me? Good. Good. You want more, Maxie? Maxie, more? Do you want more? Little buddy. All right. Maxie, can I have you try some more? Good. It's right here. It's right here. Can you help me take it? Come on. Good. Grab it. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want more? Yeah. Full? You're full? Okay. He's full, so we're just going to stop right there.
So here we are again, and it is time to G-tube feed Max. And but before we start, I just wanted to talk about generally some of the time elements of our feeding routine. We aim for about feeding him 4 times a day, and we use these, we call them bricks for obvious reasons. They kind of look like a brick. But anyway, they have 350 calories. It's a fairly concentrated formula. Actually, it was developed for kids that have kidney failure, so it doesn't have as much water as Max needs. But it does have the nutrients, the fiber, that sort of thing. So, oh, we'll eat. Be patient. Be patient. We'll eat. But anyways, going back to our routines, generally we like to feed him about 7:30 in the morning, and this is right before he wakes up to get on the bus. It's actually easier to G-tube feed him while he's laying down. When he's relaxed, the food will go in faster. Now that being said, you typically wouldn't G-tube feed a person while they were laying on their back. You would be worried about reflux. But because Max had a procedure when he was a baby called a Nissen, where they tighten up the sphincter at the base of the esophagus, he doesn't have the reflux issues like many other people would. So because of that, if we have an opportunity, like right now, we will allow him to eat when he's laying down. But again, going back to the times we like to aim for, it's generally 8 a.m., 12 noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. Now again, this is a very loose construct. It's not like let's synchronize our watches. Again, we generally feed him earlier than 8, and he usually eats a little later than 12 noon. I believe his class, they come back from eating orally, where he is generally offered food first before they G-tube feed him, and that's usually about 1 p.m. And in the evening, I like to eat dinner before we G-tube feed him, so sometimes that's not till 5 or 6 in the evening. And as far as the 8 p.m., well, to tell you the truth, we like to feed Max right before he goes to sleep because it helps him to feel more comfortable when he has a full belly. And so that generally happens about 10 or 11 in the evening. But again, these are just some general guidelines to give you something to aim for. And now we'll show you what this looks like. So this is the tubing system we use. It has a large 60 cc syringe. You can't see the markings because it's so old. The dots are worn off. And then the tube. It has a little bit of a black dot here. I don't know if you can see that very well. And the reason that that's important is because you have to match that black dot with the black dot on his, what we actually call a button. And that's the actual stump that goes through his belly, and it stays in permanently and allows us to tank him up, as it were. So again, I'll tell Max what we're going to do. So Maxie, hey Maxie, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. But we're going to eat with your G-tube, okay? So I've signed to him, and I'm going to offer him an object cue. So he knows that this is, you know, coming. It gives him a chance to kind of wrap his head around it. And what I'll usually do is, Maxie, it's time to eat. I will gently start to pull the blanket back. Now you can see he's kind of fighting me, and this is actually not that unusual. Sometimes if we're not in a big hurry, oh, oh, he's going for cover. Sometimes when we're not in a big hurry, I'll just say, okay, that's fine. You don't want to eat, we won't eat. But other times, you know, if we need to get it done, I'll be a little bit more forceful. And then sometimes, if all the stars align, then he'll actually throw his blanket down, hike his shirt up, and help me direct this into his stump. Here, okay, there you go. You want to go ahead and lift your shirt? Good job. Good job. So when you connect this, what you want to do is connect black dot to black dot. And it doesn't seem very obvious, but it's very subtle, but it's black dot to black dot. Here you go. Oh, was Mommy spending too much time talking? A little bit more action. There you go. And you can you hear that? Can you hear that? I should have put it closer to the microphone, actually. But when the G-tube goes in, you can actually hear the gas being released from his belly. So you know you got it in the right spot. So this is his G-tube. I heard the gas come up, so this does a few things. One is it lets me know that, you know, we're attached to, you know, the right spot. And two, by releasing that gas, it's going to make him a little bit more comfortable. Now the other thing we're going to do, here we go, Maxie. We're going to eat later. Let's not chew the tube. Oh, you're going to chew the tube today. Okay. I always shake this up. I guess it's not really necessary because he's ultimately going to get the whole brick, but they shake it, so we shake it. You just go ahead and pour it in, and you know, on a good day, that'll just start flowing in, but right now there's a couple of obstacles. The main one being that he's chewing on it, but it looks like it is going in. Sometimes this moves so slowly and I'm not sure if it's going in or not, so I'll actually put my thumb at the level of the milk, and then I'll try to distract myself. And then when I turn back, I can see, in fact, that the milk is going in, so it's not stuck. So we're going to let that flow at sort of a slow, leisurely rate because he's kind of enjoying chewing that tube. And again, one of many of his behaviors. But again, if it's not bothering him and it's not bothering me, then that behavior does not need to be fixed, in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and let this run in. It generally takes maybe 10 to 20 minutes to feed him this whole brick. And the rate can be affected by holding this up higher. If I were to hold the syringe up higher, it would go in quite a bit faster. There was this one nurse that used to take care of Max, and I was always amazed at how quickly she could feed him. And she would have that syringe probably the full length up, and even have a bit of tautness against his stump, and it would go in fast. But this is okay as well. And we'll go ahead and let this run in. Now, a few things while we're here is if it hadn't started, there's a few tricks I wanted to show you on how to get it to clear. Sometimes what happens, especially if you don't give him the water afterwards to clear it, is the milk will actually curdle and get stuck in his button or his little ostomy site. And if that happens, there's a few tricks you can do. When I'm out and about, what I do is I just simply blow like this. And that will usually free the obstruction. Another thing that you can do, and I'm going to show that to you. This is probably one of my favorite tricks as far as with people that don't feel like putting their mouth on his feeding syringe, is I use a plunger. At this moment you can see that Max's fingers are in his feed, and I actually love that. I encourage that because I like the thought that, you know, he can feel the milk, he can feel what's going on. I will pour the milk over his fingers sometimes to let him know, hey, this is, you know, where we're getting the milk, this is how it happens. And in that way he can participate and shed a little light on this strange thing that's, oh, well, that's one of the one of the possible outcomes too, is he spills it. But again, cause and effect, and the more he can tactily experience his life, the better. But the other thing is, oh yes, the other thing I wanted to show you if this G-tube gets stuck is one of my favorite tricks. And but what you want to do is you can take the plunger when this gets stuck, and I'll lubricate it with spit or water, whatever you have laying around. And take the plunger and you basically plunge it in a bit. And you don't even have to put it in the whole way. Just if you put it in that far, that's usually enough to force the milk, water, whatever you have to try to empty this, to try to clear your tube. And then you can jiggle it right back out. And then when you do, you'll find that it goes in pretty well. So, and then the last little trick I'm going to show you guys, and actually I'm going to have to wait until this milk goes in, is you can use Coca-Cola. Carbonated beverages have carbonic acid in them, and the carbonic acid will help to clear or unclog a clogged button. And this particular button we call Mickey. I'm not really sure where it gets that term, but if you ever hear Mickey button. But anyway, so I'm going to let that milk go all the way in, and then I'm going to let a little air go through. And the reason being because if you mix, and he's breathing, pushing out some of the gas that has been accumulated at the top of his stomach. But if you mix milk with carbonic acid, it will curdle and give you basically cottage cheese. So you never want to use anything with acid such as orange juice, Coca-Cola. All of these have high acid contents with milk, because what will happen is if you have any milk in there, it's going to turn into cottage cheese, and you won't be able to use this mechanism to feed them. So let's just say that that milk's through, and now I'm going to try to quickly pour some Coca-Cola. There we go. Some Coca-Cola in, and again, there's some space here between, hopefully, between the Coca-Cola and the milk. And as that Coke goes in, you can kind of see it eating away at whatever is on that side wall. It will hopefully clear out where there might be some obstruction of that Mickey. And so that is another trick to unclog a problematic Mickey button. We always give him about 60 to 120 cc's of water after the feed, and the reason being is because, again, this formula is so concentrated that he would be dehydrated if he did not get extra water. In fact, one time, just for fun, I drank one of those bricks just to kind of see what it was like. And it was pretty sweet vanilla. It wasn't too bad. But afterwards, my mouth was so dry. And at that point, I really, truly appreciated how dehydrating just these formulas can be. So I'm going to go ahead and give them the water. And especially on hot days, you probably want to give them closer to 100, maybe 200 cc's of water. Oh, Max, it's going to be raining a little bit there, buddy. So watch out. So, as I say, when we finish up the feed, I will run some water through. And again, this is good for hydration as well as cleaning the tube. And this will make sure that that Mickey button is cleared of all milk, all residue, so that it doesn't clot between feeds, because that can be real problematic. And what I usually do on top of that, and again, this is probably something only a mom would do, is I will go ahead and blow the last little bit through, and then that way the Mickey will be totally clear of all material. So, and I also tell Max that we're finished. So, Maxie, the feeding is finished. I'm going to take the G-tube off, and he loves that. He's glad to be finished. Here we go. And I heard that air go in. Now, as we pull this off, you might see that his ostomy site is a little reddened, and that is because he tends to get a yeast infection there. And again, black to black, and I unscrewed that, should slip right out. But what we usually do for that is a few things. One of the easiest is we'll use some kind of a spray-on antifungal. And Maxie, I'm going to put some medicine on your G-tube site, okay? Let's put some medicine on there. And the sign for medicine is just the middle finger in the middle of your other palm. So we'll go ahead and give a little squirt to that. Here you go. I think anytime he hears medicine, he's pretty much, I don't think so. There we go. All done. All done. Good boy. And some of the other things that we like to do is give him probiotics. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. We actually have this nighttime slurry where we'll put some probiotics along with melatonin in his nighttime feed. And the reason that is because when you're totally blind, you have a loss of day and night. You don't have those circadian rhythms that the rest of us do, depending on our light exposure with our eyes and the melatonin that produces in our brain. So we give that synthetically to him, and it does help to have him rest better through the night. Here we are. This is the probiotics that I use. It's just a, I think this is the generic form at Sam's Club that I use. And I usually take a little cup, and the reason I like this particular type is because it's in a capsule form, and it's dry, and it's pretty easy just to dump it. So the probiotic will help to fight against the overgrowth of yeast. And then the other thing, as I said, is melatonin, and we're just about out, but this is a 10 milligram of melatonin. And I usually have to cut this one up, and I usually start by just cutting it in half. Didn't do too much damage there. I'll get the job done. And then I use this mortar and pestle just to put this into a powder. And again, you wouldn't really have to mess with this unless Max was spending the night with you or any kind of prolonged visit. And then I usually mix it with some hot water. Oh, maybe, I don't know, 30 cc's or so. You don't want to give him too much before bedtime because he'll not be able to hold his bladder till the morning. And that is our typical slurry, and I'll just pour that in with his evening feeds. The other thing I want to show you guys is what this Mickey looks like. This is the stump. Maybe if I hold it against this dark background, it'll be a little bit more obvious. This is a soft plastic button that is actually slips into the hole that is through Max's skin that goes directly to his stomach. And again, you can see that little black dot that you have to line up this G-tube site with, this black on black, and then it twists in. So that's a little closer than when we actually had it on Max. But the other thing I want to show you is basically what this looks like inflated. So what you do typically is this is the part that you can't see. This is underneath the skin. But what you don't see is that stump below is filled up. I should have done this before. Is filled up with water, and so you usually put anywhere from 3 to 5 cc's, and so 4 is a good compromise. And it'll actually say here BAL balloon. So that is the part that we, once this stump is in his skin, we fill that little balloon up like that. And because of that balloon, that keeps it into his stomach where it belongs. And then it also has a little tag here you can use to close the open stump, but I usually don't bother because this is a one-way valve, so the milk can go in, but it doesn't come out. Now, there are very few emergencies in Max's life. For all of his interesting medical history, he really is of good, sound health. But one of the things that makes us all very excited is if this Mickey button comes out. And for example, the other day, for some reason, somehow with time or erosion, most of the fluid had come out of the balloon and it slipped out. And so the reason that this is, I hate to use the word emergency, but the reason that this is sort of an acute situation is because if this comes out and his skin is left open, the skin will actually tend to close within 30 minutes to an hour. And so if his stump should happen to come out on your watch, the most important thing you can do is try to put it back in so you can keep the skin hole open. Now what that would look like, let's just say if perhaps accidentally this came out, what I would do is I would deflate this balloon. You know, I would either tear it with my teeth, you cut it with a knife, you know, whatever, you know, scissors, whatever you need to do to deflate that balloon. Once that balloon is deflated, then I would take this stump and I would use water, Vaseline, mineral oil, whatever, spit, whatever you can get to, and I would put that back into his ostomy site. You could just hold it on, you could put a piece of tape, just call us, let us know. At school they have a nurse that can actually slip that in without difficulty, and some of Max's caregivers have been trained in slipping these in and out. But as I said, that's one of the few times where you know, we really need to hear about it if this comes out. And as I said, just try your best to put that back in, keep it in, and just let us know. And other than that, I think that pretty much covers the G-tube.